All right, back inside the Pirate Radio Zoom room, brought to you by Sailor Warehouse. Don't stand around waiting for your local U.S. Sailor store to serve you when Toby Williams and his outside sales team can come right to you. Call 799-7051. Also, White Claw, hard seltzer, nothing tastes quite like it. Here today with the captain, Shane Carden, who joins us from the beautiful state of Idaho. Hello, Shane.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. Good to catch up with you. And wanted to get you on. Saw you tweet the other night when there was a lot of tweeting and complaining going on, and thought you had a good message at the end of that ECU Tulsa game. You said, what a fight from this team. Everyone knows how bad those calls were. Good things are happening at ECU, whether the refs like it or not. I thought that was a good message. And I was kind of thinking about it, Shane. It's like when there's one common enemy, you kind of rally around together, and hopefully that's something this team can do, right? Is kind of say it's us against the world and go out against Tulane this week and prove they deserve to win last week and hopefully deserve to win this Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. And, you talk about us against the world, and it's almost like the world against the refs right now because, for Pirate fans and for everyone on the same side to say those are bad calls, right? Every once in a while, each side kind of says they got nicks on the call.
Yeah.
But when you have like ESPN announcers taking time out to talk about those calls and say that they were bad, and then for the league itself to come out and say that they were wrong, it's kind of like, all right, then yeah, they were really against us. And I think you're starting to see what I could kind of see the beginning of the year, and I don't like to tweet too much unless it's something like this that really is like, wow, it's blatantly terrible.
Yeah, me neither. I don't really tweet that much either.
Well, Clip, unlike you, most people should not be tweeting. I think there should be some kind of test where people should pass to get to tweet because there's a lot of bad tweets out there. Anyways, that's beside the point. But you kind of start seeing as, we talked about a bunch when I was there, the chip on the shoulder, right?
Yeah.
You kind of saw it growing earlier this year. And I was going to talk about that or tweet about that earlier this year. And I decided to hold my tongue. I just wanted to keep watching how the team progressed and kept going. And you see it building. And yeah, this sucks. And I'm sure Mike Houston's saying all the right things to his team, kind of just, hey, it is what it is now, move past it, grand scheme of things. Don't let them come back that close. Don't give the game. Don't let the referees be able to change the game. And you'd like to have the win, but, it's almost like that loss might have worked even more for this team moving forward. This year is going to be weird no matter what. COVID, building this and that. But I think there's something seriously growing, that chip on the shoulder of you talked about us against the world, where this team seems to grasp that. And, the talent you can see is really coming up and getting there. And when you have that, when you have an attitude, when you are that good, but you just want to kind of say, oh, we don't care about it, and the rest of you people talking or this or that, it's going to be fun to see what happens here in the next, I think, second half of the season or end of the season, how many more games they get because of COVID, but and then going into the next year.
Shane, I remember talking to you at the Pirate Radio kickoff party. I believe it was going into the James Madison game, like the season opener, and you were talking about how crucial that game was because you put in work all off season and you want some reward, some results to happen positively to show that your work is paying off. And you said if they don't win that game, it could be a long season. And sure enough, you were right. They did lose to Mike Houston and Donnie Kirkpatrick, of all people, in that game. But how about this, Shane? Like 2 weeks ago, ECU played hard against Navy, maybe the best performance against Navy, but they didn't have Holton Ahlers, they lose. Last week, they played good enough to win. The calls go against them, they lose. Are they getting enough positive reinforcement that they're close, that they don't just kind of say, all right, we're putting in this work, it's not paying off. Why keep working this hard? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there enough positives right now that they can keep on going and eventually get that W?
Absolutely, I think so. Because in both those games, in both the last two losses, you look at things that were a little weird, right? Like Holton couldn't play against Navy because of what ended up was probably a false negative, right? You have that weird deal. And you can straight look at another team like Alabama with their coach getting multiple tests. Holton didn't get that. Then you have these calls, and it's kind of like this thing where you just – I mean, I know that locker room feeling it. They're just pissed. You know what I mean? It's like at some point they're just going to have to cross that threshold of like, you know what? We don't care what you do to us. We don't care what call you make on us. We're just going to go make the next play. And I think you kind of keep getting beat and beat and beat, and these guys are, have had some tough careers, but you see it changing. I think there's enough positive and there's enough weird things that have kind of caused some tough losses where it's like, you know what, screw the rest of everyone else. We're gonna go do our thing, and we're not gonna leave the game in the refs' hands. We get like now, let's just say they get the same situation at halftime with Tulsa, right? You know what that halftime speech is. Hey, don't let the refs affect this game. We cannot let them come back in this, right? If it's the same situation. And I just think it'll be a totally different mindset.
Shane, do you remember a time when you were at ECU or playing high school football or in any part of football where I don't think the refs are on the take. I don't think anybody's getting paid. But when it's like going against you, have you ever felt that during a game? You're like, dude, give us one of these calls, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone that's played, coached, watched, everyone has had those games where you just feel like that. And that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning. Like, everyone's had that. But when you have, like, outside sources that don't really have a skin in the game for ECU, like, for them to say it was a bad call, like that kind of deal. But, yeah, absolutely. And then I kind of thought back to a time where we kind of had some negativity that really boosted us into some great seasons. And I really look back my redshirt freshman year, wasn't playing, and we didn't go to a bowl game, and there was just like a lot of like not good. It wasn't right. It wasn't there, and there was a lot of anger and frustration, and a couple of us just got in the locker room that offseason. We're like, you know what? We're not doing this next year. We're going to be going to a bowl. We're going to win some games. We're going to figure out a way to do it. And the whole offseason was this whole like pissed off mindset, and I think it really catapulted us into those 3, pretty successful seasons. We could have won a few more games here and there, but you just kind of always see something like that kind of pisses off the team enough to really say enough is enough. We got to change something, and we're going to go do it. And I really think this is what's going on right now.
Talking to Coach Shane Carden out in Idaho. So, Shane, are you playing with no high school football, at least public schools here in North Carolina? How about you guys out in Idaho?
So we had 2 games we were able to play. Our school board was holding our team, our school, under a different health metric than the rest of our league and the rest of the state, which is really tough. So we got a couple of games in, and I kind of feel the same way. I've been speaking about this whole offseason deal. I kind of feel the same way about my team right now. It's kind of like, hey, school boards have kind of held us back from playing. We have to go have the best offseason we've ever had at the school, and I'm looking at some kids. I got a lot of young leaders that I think are going to really lead my team in that way, and I'm looking forward to the next year.
I remember, I believe Steve and Igo and I looked up the top recruits from Idaho on 24/7, and of course they go to Boise State, they go to BYU, Pac-12, but you said you got a lot of guys you think can play at the next level. What is high school football like overall in the state of Idaho?
I mean, it's different. I mean, when I experienced, Texas high school football, which, as I say that, it's kind of like everyone knows, but I wasn't at a bigger school. It's turned into a big recruiting school now. It's good competition, man. And it's really hard to say, like, exactly how different is in North Carolina or this or that. I don't think the kids are quite as big, but I mean, it's high school football. There's some great athletes. I have a young quarterback, young receiver, young running back, and a group of freshmen that are coming in that there's a couple of them I think you'll go play. And I think the biggest thing as a coach that I have to put forward is, yes, Boise State, BYU, it's great. D1 schools are awesome. There's a lot of options out there. And I think especially the social media age, these kids get so worked up when trying to get a D1 offer, this and that. Like, man, wherever you're playing on Saturday, Friday, Thursday night, wherever it is, that if you're playing at the next level, it's going to seem that big. And you're probably going to get your school paid for. And no matter what, you're leaving with a great experience of playing football at a level where kids will be taking the same, seriousness as you are. And I think that's what, I've tried to reiterate in my kids' minds. And when I had a kid last year go play at a D3 school in Minnesota who the year before was a junior, I didn't even know where to play him. And now he's getting to play some college football. So I think, if you get over the fact that, hey, it may not be D1, but it's still college football, then I think a lot more kids will go play.
Shane, you had a lot of success throwing the football, but also handing it to Coop and Breon. I'm sure you wanted to throw the ball 60 times a game as a quarterback. Now as a coach, do you realize why Riley and Ruff and those guys said, Shane, let's run it a few times to Coop here?
No, I got that. I understood that pretty often when I was at ECU as well. I wasn't quite as fast fast as some of those running backs. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. You gotta have, a balanced offense enough, and then you really change it to what personnel you have. And I think that's what Riley did really well. I mean, Cooper as a running back and Brianna as running back were totally different receivers, or running backs, right? Totally different styles, and we use them differently. A little more power with Coop, and a little more finding space for Brianna to run. But I go back a lot, and I say one of the best plays I've ever seen while I was there was the handoff to Breon on 3rd and forever against Mencia. Went for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I'll show that clip to my players now, and I'm like, man, it's 3rd and 30, right? That play changed the entire game. All right, you had Isaiah, who was Isaiah at the time, Isaiah Jones blocking like 40 yards down the field, pancake his guys in the end zone. Breon kept working. Linemen are like full speed sprinting down the field. I mean, that's what separated that game. It was like we just we wanted to win so freaking bad that our receivers are blocking down the field that bad, or linemen are running down the field, or running backs just like, hey, 3rd and whatever. I'm not taking this as like we're just kind of running the ball. I'm gonna try to score, and that was always our mindset when we got rolling like that. That's what made us good.
You show that play, and then you show your touchdown catch in the bowl game.
That's right. Yeah, that one was pretty good too. I definitely have posted that one a few times.
Shane, thanks for joining us, man. Glad to see you're doing well. The hair looks great.
Thank you. I'm still looking for my hair sponsorship, so send them out my way.
Shane, good stuff. We'll keep in touch and talk to you again down the road, bud.
All right, thanks, Clip.
The captain, Shane Carden, joining us inside the Zoom room, brought to you by Cellular Warehouse and White Claw Hard Seltzer. We'll see you next time. Thank you.